Hey everyone, Paul ISM, welcome to part 3 of our Revell 125th Chevy Chevelle video build. So, welcome back to part 3. We are going to get this finished today. Very excited to get this off the bench, and more so to see all your builds as part of this buddy build as well, because there's 4 or 5 now, including mine. Some epic work, and I'm really looking forward to see them all. So, it's the final part. If you don't know, every year I do a Christmas buddy build. It starts on my birthday, runs through Christmas to New Year. So, it's my birthday Christmas buddy build. I pick a subject, we all build it. Last year was the food trucks, if you remember that. This year it's a 68 Revell Chevelle in American boxing or the Revell Germany boxing. Loads of these being built. I've lost track of how many there are, but there's a good dozen at least. And like I say, really excited to see what we get at the end. We're going to go all different colours and types and styles and modifications. There's even a Transformer one Frank is doing, which is epic. I'm not going to lie, it's absolutely epic. So, a couple of things I'm going to discuss at the end about the videos. They're going to change a little bit for the good for everyone. But we'll talk about that at the end of the video. For now, let's get into the build and get cracking polishing the body. And here we go, into the final part of our Revell Chevy Chevelle. Don't know why I said that, but it's a Chevy Chevelle. G'day, mate. Anyway, we've got 3000, 6000, 8000 3M Trizec pads here. These are now, by far and away, my favourite sanding implements to flatten clear coats. Wonderful. Not cheap at all. You're better off buying them in bulk. I think a set of 3 of them, 1500, 3000, 6000, 5 of each cost me about £30. And the 8000s I had to get from France. It's the only place I could get them from. They were about £4 each with £5 postage, however many you bought. So they're not cheap, but this is like a tenth of the sheet that I've cut off here, and they last a long time, each one. And they are by far the finest sanders for taking back clear coats I've used. I've had them before, I've never used them properly though, but they work so much quicker and easier than micromesh, and there's no scratches left behind, near enough at all. Very, very smooth, and transitioning between the grits just goes better and better. So we're going to flat all the body back. I'm finding once I'm done and polished that my clear coat's looking a lot thinner, looks a lot less thick, as you can sometimes get with 2 curves applied too thickly. You just need to be careful with any pads like this on raised edges or raised parts like door handles and what have you, that you don't burn through. It's easily done, but knowing how far you can sand is just one of those things you pick up while you're building models. So we're working through the 3, 6 and 8000 around to the bonnet as well. And we're just flattening it back until we get a nice flat finish free of flaws. So trying to get rid of any dust. If you do spot any dust, you can pay a little bit more attention to that particular spot. And once we're done, you can see we've got nice flat paintwork. We come with the ultimate polish system. So starting off with the compound, which is a thicker, more abrasive polish. Nice clean cotton cloth. And we're going to buff this up back to a high shine. So again, same as with the sanded sponges, be careful any raised areas or edges and what have you where the paint is thinner, because it always is on edges, and that you don't burn through. Trust me, it's very easy to burn through, and the feel of polishing and sanding is something you'll pick up over time. So if you're not too sure, don't push it too far, but I am a lot more confident using those 3M Trizec pads in taking back these clear coats, because they're just so fine to work with. Highly recommend them. If anyone needs a link, I'll try and remember to put it in the description down below. And if not, drop me a message and I'll give you the link should you need it, or ask in the comments. So there's the polish, the compound gone down. Going to deal one section at a time, doing the whole body, but I'm just going to show the roof. Take off all that compound, get it all out from all the nooks and crannies, and then buffer up to a nice high shine. Then we come with the polish, which is a less abrasive version of the compound. So it's a little bit thinner as well, it's a bit more liquidy. And again, nice clean cloth, keeping separate cloths for each one. we'll go around and polish it up. And that way, as we go up through the grits of 3M pads and from the compound to the polish, we're getting more and more the scratches out as we go, and hopefully, ultimately, leave a high shine, scratch-free, blemish-free finish at the end. And once we've buffed in the polish, we can wipe it all off, and we've got a good shine. If you need to repeat it, any of the steps, if you found a dust spot, you need to sand again, sand again. If you think you need to compound again or polish, go for it. Whole car's been done, including the bonnet. We're in the spray booth, and we've got some water. For God's sake, make sure it is water you're using. Make sure any other liquids are out the way. That's my water bottle in front. And we're going to use the airbrush as a jet wash to power wash all the polish and compound residue out the panel lines. It's a nice, simple, easy way. And I often find the easiest way to do it is to go around it once, let it soak for a minute, and then come back and it'll soften everything up and you can blast it out. Once you're done at the end, you can use just air to blow off most of the water. Be careful you don't hit your model with your airbrush. And then we can get some kitchen paper and a nice clean cotton cloth and buffer up to a nice finish. So really happy with these 3M pads. I can't recommend them enough. They've been recommended to me for many times over the years. I have had them. I've never really tend to use them properly. But yeah, they're all I'm going to use. Not only do they make polishing simplified, they're making that 2K look much thinner and a lot less toy-like, which is often a criticism of 2K. Got lots of chrome wire to mask off. We've got the strips at the bottom that run on the bottom of the doors, up the front by the front bumper and the rear bumper, around the windows, side, back and front, and that's it. We could have done the arches as well. I opted out of it. I didn't want to do that look. I just wanted to go with the trim at the bottom and the windows. We're just using Tamiya's 1, 2, 3mm tape and their 6, 10 and 18 to infill the larger areas, and then we use cling film to get everywhere else. You've seen me do this before. I have a Techniques Eye video coming up very soon where I will cover this in depth, so you can have a look at that. As I say, I'm trying to keep these videos a bit shorter, so sticking with the pertinent points and not showing so much of the mundane day-to-day stuff. But for those who are new to watching, if you go back to my Subaru build from 4 years ago, it's in the playlists. I do cover this stuff much more in depth, as will my new in-depth intermediate techniques guide on the new B-Max BMW we'll cover very soon. Like I say, cling film, invaluable tool. Make sure every part on the body that is clear coated, not freshly clear coated. And if you've got any decals that aren't protected, don't put it over. I have seen cling film pull unprotected decals off paintwork before. Be warned. But I like to cut a strip over, fold it over in half once we've straightened it all out. Like so. And then pull the front so it's straight, and then you can cut this to size as you see fit. So very useful. Saves on the masking tape, and as you see, we've got a little piece here we've trimmed to size, and that will infill our roof. Now at this point I did forget to do the rear window. Don't know how, but I did. So as I put this on, I'm kind of covering the back up, and then I notice it and think, nope, I've not done the back. So I do that off camera, and we'll come back and infill the rest. So just make sure you're fully covered everywhere. You don't want any gaps, because if the paint gets on it, you've got to remove from your freshly polished paint. But luckily 2K is very resilient, so you can often get paint off with no issue, to be honest. But still do the best job you can masking, because it saves another job later down the line. With everything masked up and fully cured, we've got it back on cured and fully sealed. We're back on the Tamiya stand. I've got the same colour we used for the bumpers and the chrome work we did earlier on. This is Mr. Hobby's Silver Plate Next. Expensive paint, costs about £18 this bottle. Love this colour. It's like a dark chrome. It's just a wonderful colour. And I thought I'll do the windows and the chrome trim to match the bumpers and the other chrome that is on the car, door handles, mirrors, etc. It's very, very thin paint. So I'm spraying this at about 14 psi through the Ultimate Apex. It's thinned with a touch of Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner, but it is very, very thin, and you need to take your time. Now, the only downside to this is it is quite delicate on the 2K, so when you handle it in a bit, putting everything together, try and keep your fingers off the chrome, otherwise you may find it rubs off. And there we go. After 3 or 4 light coats, everything's covered. As you can see, it covers so well. And because we're spraying it onto a high gloss surface, it gives a very high shine finish. And there we go, unmasking it. What took us hours to mask takes literally a minute to unmask. Very, very carefully. Being careful not to scratch any paintwork or touch any of the chrome. We just gently pull off our masking tape until it's done. Really loving this colour, especially with this chrome trim. Really brings it alive once you start doing stuff like this. And it's just a wonderful colour, this silver plate next. It's one of my favourites. And there we go, there's our chrome trim done around the windows. Wipers are all done. And the lower chrome trim around the bottom of the doors, rear and front bumpers as well. And yeah, very happy with that. Looks absolutely superb. Beautiful blue colour. Looks really nice, all polished up. And yeah, really happy with how that's looking. Nice contrast between the blue and the silver plate next. Now, some Vallejo model colour black. We're going to paint inside all the body. Contemplated what colour to do this. Decided on black. So it's a water-based brushable paint. Just in with a drop of water. Got a nice flat Tamiya brush. It's going to go around and very carefully brush paint it all. If you do get it on the chrome work, this has been left overnight from when we did it. It will wipe off with a gentle rub of a cotton bud, but like I say, it is a delicate finish, that chrome, so keep your fingers off it. Try and keep any paint off it and limit any black you get all over it as well. But these Vallejo model colour paints are very highly pigmented. They brush paint absolutely fantastic and ideal for this, but they do like thinning with a drop or two of water. And like I say, just go around everywhere that will be seen from outside, including the sides where the door cards go, because you can often see through there. And I'd like that to be black as well, rather than blue. And there we go, leave that to dry for half an hour or so. That will dry itself, and you clean up your brush with a UMP airbrush cleaner. Glass, we cut the glass off, cleaned it up, give a bit of a wipe over a nice cloth to get your fingerprints off. I'm looking which way it goes. It does seem to go in a particular way. The glass fitment is absolutely fantastic. It fits in those surrounds absolutely perfect. Like so. Now, you could use PVA and pop it in there first. For me, I had to get it in place and put a little tiny dab of CA glue just on the outer edges. I always find it a safer option and less messy rather than getting glue all over the place. It just needs a little bit of a dab on the outer edge. We'll repeat this for the front as well. In fact, I think the front could already be in there. Looking at it, it is. The front is already in. This is just a cheap CA glue from Amazon. Link for this is in my store in the description down below. It's proven very good, the CA glue, with these precision tips that you can buy separately as well. It's working very, very well. And there we go, with the glass in, just quick check to make sure it all looks alright. Then we're going to get a micro brush with some CA glue activator. And just touch it. I did get a little bit of this on the glass and it did mark the top of it, ever so slightly. Not really that noticeable. So the first time round it worked perfect, and then I went round again and got a little bit too much on like an idiot. So mistakes do happen. You need to be very careful with the activator on clear parts. It does destroy them. So you just want to touch it, let the per reaction carry it to the super glue rather than touching it to the super glue. Side windows, they slot in. They have a little locating rim around the edge. And again, put a couple of dabs of CA glue to locate the top and bottom. Just to secure it in place. And hit that with kicker again. Just be very careful. Same on the other side. And that's our windows in place. Pretty simple and easy. Like I say, go easy with the kicker. I like to hold it just away from the glue and let the capillary reaction carry it in. Now the front grille, this needs to be painted black. On nearly all my American cars I've built with the grills like this, I just fill them with the Tamiya black panel line wash. I love how it looks. I think it's a really nice chrome black colour. I just like the look of it. So I'm just loading up the brush and getting plenty of the wash in there. We can wipe off any excess later. But for the most part, as long as you get a nice even coat, it can be left. Then we can go around the SS logo on the front grille. And there we go. That's all I've done. Put it to one side to dry. I don't know what it is. I prefer the look of it like this. I just do. And on the rear bumper, insert, the light insert. We're going to brush paint some of that Vallejo again into the centre. Make sure it's all filled in. And then we've got nice demarcation lines around the edge that we can get rid of our pointy cotton buds. And definitely not licky. No, that wasn't licked. 100%. And then using the edge of the panel line, we can just follow it down nice and carefully. And we get a perfect, nice, straight edge. Same for the top. And there we go, job done. Rear lights cut off, cleaned up. They literally slot in place. They needed no glue at all. Fitted right in there perfectly. There we go, there's the lights in. And the front lights, just a headlight lens, I suppose it is. It's all been cut off the sprue, cleaned up. Make sure you get them the right way round. And we're going to use aqua gloss to glue this in place. So we'll put a little dab inside just to hold it in first. So we get it in place, and then we just load up a brush with some aqua gloss. Just remove any excess that we've got first. And then with a little bit of aqua gloss on the brush, let the capillary action carry it around like we do with our glue. I'll leave that to one side to dry, and that will hold those lights in perfectly. Wheels, painted off camera, missed painting them completely. This is TS42 gunmetal. There's a lot of talk over what colour to do the wheels. This is the colour I finally decided on. Not everyone's going to like it, that's fair enough, but for me, I like this colour. We're going to give them a wash, so we'll thin some Tamiya panel line wash with some Santador odorless mineral spirits, and just infill some of the detail around the road wheel nuts and the recessed details on the edge of the rim. Nice and simple, really. Just add a little bit of depth to the wheels, make it look a bit more interesting. Like I say, the Foose FD100 wheels fit perfectly on this with the modifications we made in part 1. And something I meant to do all along was to add a wash to the engine bay, so we'll go through and do that. And you can see my nice flocked interior there that Hannah did for me. This doesn't do a bad job on the flocking. Should also hint at the interior colour, which you've not seen yet. And there we go, let the wash dry and we can wipe it all off. And again, we'll pop it underneath all of the exhaust, all of the transmission, and we'll wipe off any excess later on. Big fan of the Tamiya panel line washes. They are very, very useful, especially if you thin them a bit and get the capillary action working a little bit better. They work really well. And while we're here, we might as well paint under the bonnet while we've got the Vallejo model colour out, still mixed in the pot from earlier. So some careful painting, and we'll paint all the insulation from underneath the bonnet itself. Like I say, coverage is fantastic. So one quick coat, put that to one side to dry, and as before, we're getting the excess, using all the pointed cotton buds moist. No idea it was moistened, just run it down the edge of the panel, and there we go, we got a perfect edge there. Battery, it was all painted up last time. We're going to paint the terminals in silver. So this is Tamiya Enamel Silver, X11 I believe it is. Really liking these enamel paints from Tamiya, they're working very well. And then we've got some Tamiya X7 Red to detail some of it up as well. So again, the enamel's highly pigmented, they brush paint absolutely fantastically. It's just a case of loading your brush up, and on small parts like this, I just like to touch. Rather than brush, just touch, and that way you leave behind a nice glossy finish. There we go. And there's our interior painted up. So this is a mixture of 2 zero paint colours. It's Ferrari Beige and Saddle Tan. It's about 50-50 to give this colour. We've used this before on several vehicles. I think there's even the Aston Martin DB11 colour. And for me, go for colour for this car. So happy to use it. Can't remember if I showed spraying these. I've completely forgotten if I showed it in part 2. I don't think I did. So I think I've lost a little bit of footage. I think because I've been in and out and back and forward on the builds, I've loaded up the SD card wrong and lost a little bit of spray booth footage of the wheels and the interior being painted, but you can see what's going on. You see the colour being sprayed. Now the steering wheel, I'm going with Joe Camarilli's technique here on the steering wheel. So it's been painted the same colour as the interior. And I'm just speckling the steering wheel with dull red, which is LP, where is it? 18, I believe it is. To simulate the wood effect. Went a little bit heavy, go a little bit thinner next time. And the dashboard we've masked off for black. Around the console, instrument binnacle, and we're going to do the center console black as well, just to break up their interior a bit. So they're getting the semi-gloss LP5 treatment from Tamiya, as are the radiator surround, accelerator pedals, the bulkhead and things like that, and of course the instrument binnacle we masked off as well. Bit of careful painting, don't go too heavy with the masked areas, and you'll be just fine. Like I say, paint up some of the other areas like the slam panel, bulkhead, the radiator shroud. And then on the steering wheel, again, Joe's tip, clear orange. We're going to put several coats of this down. It does take a little bit of building up. We're probably going to put about 8 coats of that down. And here we are after the 8th coat. You see it's darkened up nicely. Looks like I'm putting a lot of paint down. There's actually not a lot going down at all. And there we go. We put it to one side to dry. And then back on the bench, we can get rid of all our excess wash we put on our seats with cotton buds, clean kitchen paper, and some mineral spirits, odorless mineral spirits from Sansador, Winsor & Newton, sorry. So, it's a case we want to get as much as the wash off while leaving it in the recessed areas. Just adds a little bit of depth to the part rather than just looking at a monotonal colour. Same with the back, this has been flocked as well, so we need to be careful here on this part. But we're just going to get as much of the wash off while leaving it behind in the detail areas. So it can be a little bit tricky to do. Don't be afraid to use cotton buds of different shapes and sizes and good old kitchen paper to get in there. Dashboard gets the same. Masking went perfect on the dash. Very crisp demarcations on it. Just going to give the glove box around a wash. And any recessed areas and the top of the dash as well. And again, it takes about half an hour to dry this stuff. We've got a semi-gloss finish on this as well. I did a semi-gloss varnish over the leather to give it more of a sheen. And then the centre of our steering wheel, we're painting X11 Tamiya enamel as well. We're just going to brush paint it silver. Still looks good. Just next time when I'm doing the dull red colour, I need to break it up into smaller so it looks like grain. I want it a little bit heavy on this one, but it looks alright. It works well. It's a good technique of Joe's. And then we're going to detail some parts with the silver while we're here on the dash as well, and paint all the winder handles on the door cards too. Like I say, really enjoying these enamels. They're making detail painting really fun and easy because they just cover so well. Downside is they do take a little bit longer to dry and it can stay tacky a bit, so you just need to be careful when handling parts that they aren't freshly painted, but they're so heavily pigmented that they just cover absolutely just faultlessly. Absolutely brilliant paints. Sadly not imported officially into the UK, so you're going to have to try and source them from Europe. I got mine from super-hobby.co.uk, which is in Poland. They're not that expensive to buy, but they are very easy to knock over bottles, is one thing I will say. Like I say, little bit of paint goes a long way. So you don't need to go mad. I've got a nice Winsor & Newton brush here. I think it's a 00. And yeah, just breaking up that interior with some colour. And then getting our instrument decals in place as well, as per the instructions. Usual regime with decals, get them in, remove any moisture from behind them, and then hit it with decal solution. And we went straight for UMP Strong on these because I knew that's what they needed to set. And then a little bit of a dash stripe there, and painting the indicator stalk on the column, which is temporarily glued in place. And then we can pop our steering wheel in place as well and straighten it all up. So the steering wheel looks good. It's a great technique from Joe. So I'll definitely implement that more in future. We'll just go a little bit lighter on the grain, but it looks good. The colour looks really good, and we can get our decal in the middle of it too. And a couple of decals on the doors as well. Like I say, adding the wash just adds a bit of depth to that monotonal colour, makes it look a lot less boring. Recently picked up these brown panel liners from Super Hobby as well, and definitely having good use on the interiors. Now assembling the interior, we've got our rear bench seat. We're going to glue this in place to our floor pan. So some CA glue in some strategic places where it won't be seen, and I'll locate it where it needs to sit. Hold it in place, and then we'll put a couple of dabs of CA glue in from behind where it won't be seen, because that'll sit inside the body and inside too if needed. Get our pedal box in. I was going to paint the pedals silver, and I thought no, I'll keep them black, but we have painted the previously painted gear shifter top in X18 semi-gloss black, and the gator itself. So the knob and the gator painted in X18 semi-gloss black enamel. And then the seats, generous dab of CA glue where they'll be going. No real positive locating points. They do slot in where they need to go. Don't drop them like that wherever you do. But you need to fiddle around so you get them to sit naturally where they'd like to sit. Like I say, the flocking looks good against that colour. It's a nice contrast. And the wash has really added some depth to the interior. I think it looks quite good. There we go. There's both seats in place. Then we can get our door cards in. These are a little locating points at the front and at the side. Lines up really, really well, as you can see. So again, some strategic glue placement will mean it won't be seen and securely glued in place. And then our firewall with our brake master cylinder in place as well. Tight fit this, slot straight in. There we go. And then our dashboard, little couple of dabs of glue in the locating points, and it just slides in from the top if you don't drop it. And there we go. Good stuff. And there's our interior. Not the best interior in the world, but I think it looks alright. Like the seat colour, like the carpet colour, like I did the console in black as well. Breaks it up a little bit. And steering wheel looks good. Yep, happy with that. Not a bad colour at all. We can now get the radiator and the radiator mounting point and surround in place. A couple of dabs of glue there. We've got a hose that comes out the bottom to the right hand side of the rad. So that just needs to line it up, a little bit tricky to get in. We've then got a slam panel that glues in to the actual bodywork itself. So you need to really be careful here, don't get glue everywhere. The other reason I like to use the kicker is I know the glue's dried then, so when I'm handling it, I'm not accidentally picking up bits of CA glue that still haven't cured and getting them everywhere. So it is worth doing. Inside we've got our sun visor that we've mounted our interior rear view mirror to. So some careful manoeuvring. We'll get this lined up. Again, I did contemplate painting that interior roof the same colour as the interior, but I thought the black will break it up a little bit. And then we've got the top hose, which mounts in the front top locating point on the engine. And then this hose actually pushes forward this surround to hold it in place. So with the top bit in, little dab of glue on the back point. Give it a little bit of manipulation to get it where we need it. And once it's in, that'll hold that in perfect. There we go. And the body. Now this body is incredibly tight to get on. Very, very tight. So I would advise getting the centre in first. You're going to need some gentle spreading. So get it over the bodywork first, then deal with any arches. Go one side at a time, just slot it in. It is very fiddly to do. I actually thought I'd lost this footage because when I looked up and finishing, the camera had stopped. Thankfully, upon editing, as you can see, I did get it. So it is a very, very tight fit, this body, which is good in a way because it holds itself on and lets the car sit properly, which is good. But you are going to need some manipulation, sliding it back and forward and gently flexing that body apart to get everything in. But once it's in, it fits in really well. You may need to slide it forward or back. Your wheel position will give that away. There we go, that's the back end in. We can push it back where it needs to go. You can see where it needs to go at the front. The front wheel arch isn't quite in. It is now though. And there we go. Interior looks good. Engine bay looks good. And the chassis sits quite straight. Wheels, they're all cleaned up, ready to go. So we can pop our tyres in place. Don't forget they are staggered wheels, so make sure you get the correct tyres on the correct wheels. And then we've got a cotton bud with some Santador on again, just to remove that excess wash. Nice and simple to do. Wheels are in place, they just slot in like we did in the first part. We've got this front body panel coloured piece that just glues in under the headlights. The grille just literally, I put 2 dabs of glue behind and pushed it in. Goes in relatively easy, but does need some gluing. And then the front bumper, a couple of dabs of glue at the top, get it in place. Dab of glue on the license plate, which we did off camera. Used the Chevelle license plates on this, just the generic ones. They're a little bit fiddly to get in place. A little bit off camera, I do apologise. And there we go, that's those. Door handles, some Bob Smith's odorless glue here, and a very, very steady hand. We can line this up with our tweezers into the locating points. Hold it for a second or two. Repeat that for the other side. And then we can do our mirrors. Now the exhaust on this, I didn't want to use the kit exhaust, I didn't like them. So I thought I'll make my own. I didn't have any aluminium tube, but I thought I did. So I decided to make them out of plastic tubing instead, and I am not happy with them at all. They are definitely something. I'm going to order some thin aluminium tube and make my own exhausts. They are in place, they are painted silver, I'm just not keen on them. Now the bench is lovely and clear here, perfectly focused. The model I'm trying to show you is not, which is a little bit annoying. But anyway, if you squint, you can kind of see what I'm looking at. Interior colour looks good. Ride height, love the ride height. The stance is perfect. Bonnet, engine bay, looks good. I think it goes into focus in a minute. Interior looks good, love that colour. Nice contrasting colour as well. I think I tap my camera now to get it to focus. There we go. There's our steering wheel, which looks really good. Paint wheel looks good. Very happy with that paintwork. And there we go. That's it finished. We've got some finished shots of it. So this was built for my birthday Christmas buddy build. Every year I do one. This year I chose the 25th scale Revell Chevy Chevelle 68. This was primed in Tamiya Grey Primer, painted in touch-up paints BMW Astoral Blue. That was thin Mr. Hobby level and thinner, about 70%, quite a lot. Used the kit decals on it, which went down flawlessly in white. We cleared it in Gravity Spain 2K clear as always. That was flatted using the 3M Trizic pads and polished up using the Ultimate Polish system. All the chrome work is Mr. Hobby Silver Plate Next, which was de-chromed, gloss black GX2 primed, and then the Mr. Hobby Silver Plate Next over the top. The wheels are TS42 from Tamiya. They are the Foose FD100 trucks from the Foose truck we did last year. Interior is a mix of Zero, Saddle Tan, and Ferrari Beige. We flocked it. Engine was detailed up using some wiring for the ignition leads. And great kit. It really is a good kit. I've got another one of these in the stash, or I will have soon. I've got all the components to make a Pro Street model, which I plan on doing. And I'm very happy how it turned out. Beautiful colour of a beautiful looking car and a great buddy build. And I cannot wait to see all the builds come together, because I think there's about 4 or 5 done now. It's going to be great to see them all. There we are, that's it, it's done. I think she turned out really well. I would have liked to do a Pro Street version, and I've got the bits now thanks to John. Cheers, John. But we're going to say that I'm going to get another kit, and I'll do a Pro Street version later on down the line. I'd already adjusted all the ride height and the wheels and everything in there, so I went with it. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm happy with it. Paintwork turned out well. Those 3M pads are awesome. I love using those. They're definitely making a difference to my paint finish, making it look a lot more realistic and less thick, Well, I think they do anyway. I don't care what everybody else thinks anyway. And yeah, I think they're turning out really well and polishing up with the UMP. Just getting nice paint finishes. Lovely interior colour. Love that interior colour. Great tip off Joe for the steering wheel, which I'll keep using as well. Making improvements on that. I'll probably make a standalone video for patrons for that along the way as well. And yeah, just overall, very happy how it looks in the display case. She's living there now. She's down the bottom. No room up top, but there will be soon, hopefully. And yeah, now we can move on. For the first time in about 2 years, other than a few Shelf of Doom builds, like the bike, don't mention the bike. I've got an Alpha 155 and a Mitsubishi Evo we started. They're back burners, I'm not bothered about those. My bench is clear of projects. There's nothing on the go at all now. Model Factory Hero Lancia is done. I've got no Alpha model on the go. I'm waiting on paint to start the Civic for the patron exclusive build. My next one is the BMW, which I'm doing as an advanced technique guide. So it's like we've done the RX-7 was like your beginner with the spray cans. Subaru was your intermediate, which is basically how to build a kit with an airbrush and what have you. And we're going for the advanced one, which has got aftermarket decals, a detail set. We've got aftermarket wheels. I'm going to go through this step by step. We're going to go through body prep, one video, priming, one video, painting, one video, decaling, one video, and so on and so forth. That way they're broken down into individual sections of shorter videos, and that'll help anybody looking to get help in building a car kit. That's the idea of it anyway. Which leads on to another couple of things. Video length. I'm trying to try and start keeping videos to 30 minutes if I can, roughly. Got some feedback off everybody, and that was a recommendation. So, hence today, the actual video itself is 33 minutes. With this waffle, it'll be about 40-ish. Yes, it will. I'm going to start working on a black background. So, it's a completely clean bench. If I can, we'll see how that goes to make it look less cluttered on the bench. Put more focus on the builds themselves. And I'm going to start uploading the videos to ISM in order of the build. So we're not going to do part 1 of Chevelle, part 1 of something else, part 2 of something else, then come back to the Chevelle. I'm just going to upload all the Chevelles in one go, all the Alpha models in one go. The only difference will be the Model Factory Heroes, because there'll be so many parts, they'll be intermixed in between, with say 2 or 3 parts of those straight after each other. It was just feedback I got. And I'm going to start uploading to ISM on a Wednesday and a Saturday for build videos, with the odd review thrown in between randomly through the week. Now with that, the downside is I already have a backlog of videos on Patreon. There's about 7 or 8 on there due to be uploaded on ISM. Because I'm only uploading 2 a week, and I make more than 2 a week, that's going to give patrons a month early access now. You're still going to see them for free, unless they're Patreon exclusive. But it's going to take longer for them to get on there. So you're probably going to be watching this in a month or so, with all the Christmas lights thinking, what the hell's going on? It's January the 13th. But it's just the way I'm going to do it. Regularity, splits the videos up a bit more, and keep them all in series of what they were done with. So you get to watch all the Chevelle in one lot, then all the Alpha models in another, rather than splitting them around everywhere. It was good feedback I got. That's what's going to happen from now on. So there we go. So if you want to become a supporter, you can become a patron. The link's in the description down below. You get 2-week early access on all the video builds. Well, it'll be a month now, so you're getting a month access on all the video builds, if not longer, to be honest. You're going to get a patron exclusive build, which is the Alpha Models Honda Civic, which is going to be the next one. I'm going to start that very soon, waiting on paint. You're going to get a monthly exclusive live stream, which is Wednesday the 7th, tomorrow. I'm doing this Tuesday evening. You can get added to a Facebook exclusive supporter group where all the links are shared, and you can be added to a Facebook exclusive supporter messenger group chat. It's about 40 of us in there now. It's nice little hellos in the morning and chatting to each other through the day. Have a look at my Patreon, select the appropriate tier. You can pick that and become one of my supporters and keep my videos going. You can also vote on builds. The patrons pick the the BMW build. I'll let everyone vote on that, and that won with 50% of the votes. So, and you also keep me going with these videos, because I couldn't do this without your support. This is my full-time job, and I need to be paid for doing it, hence why I ask for support, and some of you are absolutely brilliant and offer the support. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link down below and a PayPal me link as well, and there's links down below to everything involved with myself and my ISM, UMP, the group build page, like the bench page, Off Air Hangouts, my Paul ISM modelling page, where all my personal modelling work is shared on Facebook, my Etsy shop, my built models are built. You've got an email to get in touch with me, my scale mates, my Amazon store, a list of all the products I use. There is loads in the description down below. There you go. So I'll be back very soon with the first part of the BMW. That is the next one to see. And we're going to go through that technique series, revisit some old stuff with newer techniques, and go a bit more in depth with them. So hopefully you'll find that useful in the future as well. Enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you sub to the channel, click that bell notification to get notified of the latest videos. Give the video a thumbs up, and please leave a comment. Love hearing all your feedback, and enjoy the rest of your night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.